Students in abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Students in abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Students in abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Hope everyone vibrating, radiating, and emanating at your highest frequency. Being your true and authentic self. Staying light. Dealing with less mental and emotional baggage as possible. That's a good space to be. I ain't gonna do a bunch of rambling. I'm gonna get right off into it, because as I was writing down these uploads and these downloads, and based on where I was going with it, it made me think about my metaphysical Bible dictionary. If you don't have one, you may want to get one. Why did I point that out? Or why am I bringing this out? Because we use words to express thoughts, concepts, and ideas. But the thoughts, concepts, and ideas that we use words to express are not always defining, and in most cases are not defining the thing that we use the word or that we use the word to talk about. I almost got sidetracked. So today's topic, today's message will deal with judgment, and I'm gonna read an insert from the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary on judgment. Judgment, karma, reciprocity, retribution. It's many words. It's many synonyms for the word judgment, but we use letters. Every letter holds an energy, but once a letter is put with other letters to form a word, it's now a synergy. And that synergy will describe the particular energy of that thing that we're using words to express. Judgment, the metaphysical meaning of judgment in this book is a description of the last judgment as given in the Gospels, has been used to terrify men and women and thus compel them to unite with the church, the fearmonger tactic. But in this day of enlightenment, people are not so easily led or driven by fear. We woke up. They ask for understanding, understanding, comprehension, enlightenment. When they seek light concerning the judgment it is given, and they learn that the judgment is all a matter of divine law. So it's saying when we seek for judgment, when we seek for answers, it is given. And it's all a matter of divine law. Well, if we seek for answers to the things that we are judging, how do these answers appear? If not our daily life, if not through our daily experiences. They find that for every departure from this, or we find that every departure from the law, we must suffer, not in some future time of tribulation. So what that's saying is, karma ain't taking so long as it used to. You know, it usually you barely can do something today, and it may take a few years to catch up to you, a few months to catch up to you, a few weeks to catch up to you. It ain't happening like that today. It's coming back like that. But in this life, here and now, it's coming back like that. What is this divine law? It is the universal something in us of which we all are conscious. That tells us when we are doing right and when we are doing wrong. Conscientious, our conscience tell us when we're doing right or wrong through our consciousness. It may be defined as the innate knowing of right and wrong. And this knowing may be quickened. It may be cultivated. It may be developed. This quickening does not come by the study of material things. So if it don't come by study of material things or the observation of material life as we live it, then it got to be in us and not on us. This quickening does not come by the study of material things, but by the concentrating of the mind on your higher self, on your Christ self, on your God spark, on your source energy, however you know it. This brings us to the realization of what Jesus meant when he said, "The Son of Man shall come in his glory, and he shall set the sheep on his right and the goats on the left." But what is this Son of Man? What is this Son of Man that's being spoke about? The Son of Man is the divine power in us. I'm going to say it again. The Son of Man is the divine power in us. It is that in us which knows. It is always near and not far away. Some call it their angel. Some call it their higher self. Every man and woman has within them the sheep and the goat. The goat are thoughts of stubbornness, opposition, resistance. All of these must be separated from the true when the Son of Man comes into the individual consciousness in the glory of the divine mind, also known as the Father in biblical writings. The real man is the spiritual man, the I am. And when it comes into dominion, when it comes into activation in the individual, in you, when it comes into power of our consciousness, things happen. We come into dominion in a great judgmental work, in a great judgment work. And the judgment not about other people, it's on ourselves. The great day of sifting and separation, ripping yourself apart to upgrade yourself into something better, ascension. This goes on in the mind and within our body and in the outer world. By your internal work, you should see your external environment shifting and shaping to the work that you're doing within yourself. The natural man is in constant shifting, in a constant whirlpool, and constant choosing process, decision making. Yes or no, this or that. Separation, constant separation, splitting our mind up in order to define, or in order to come into what's the substance behind the form of the thing that we think we're seeing, hearing, or feeling. It's an obligation to discern the real from the unreal, the true from the false. And by our word, because our word holds authority. So it's important for us to be in touch with our word, with our communication. And not only in touch with it, be able to express it with authority, with power, with conviction. Because our word has the ability, once it leaves us, to go into the atmosphere, go into the space and do things. Our words don't just disappear once they leave our mouth. Our thoughts just don't disappear once we have them. they're in this atmosphere, in this space, and they're able to be picked up by the collective. And you see, listen and you won't miss it. The sheep are the meek, obedient, kind, tender, true, helpful thoughts. They are intelligent. In Oriental countries, where sheep are cared for by shepherds who love them, they show a remarkable intelligence. If you have a pet, based on the love, care that you show them, you will see an activeness, a communicativeness in their intelligence with you. The Lamb that take away the sin of the world, the error of the world, is loving, intelligent, obedient thoughts to the divine law. Sin, and I don't want to use that word sin, I want to replace it with error. I'm going to give it other synonyms. Error, false thoughts, concepts, and ideas are always followed by suffering. Every time we make a wrong decision, we know it. We know it by the experience of the consequence. Unless you know the law and identify yourself with the source, with the Christ, with God, with universal and divine intelligence, and display righteousness in some shape or fashion or form in your life, you can separate yourself from erroneous, false thinking, conditions. If you get angry, your blood will boil. Your anger will cook your corpuscles. What that means is when we get angry, when we lose control of our emotions, and we know how that anger or that frustration or that stress in its buildup, we know how it's feeling. But what we don't know in most cases is what it's doing to ourselves. What it's doing to ourselves, and the chemicals that's being released through the anger, through the stress, through the frustration. So with every departure from the law of love, a condition comes that men have named diseases, sickness. But there is no reality in the diseases and the sicknesses that are described in the medical books, and no remedy can be found for them in the realm of materiality. They are all the outpicturings of error thoughts. They are all the emanations of error thoughts. They are all the projections of error thoughts being casted out. And the only real healing power is in the Christ mind, where true ideas rule. So the overcomer, the master builder, the God-man, woman, the individual who consciously in your overcoming, who consciously in your ascension or in your ascending process knows that to you, every day is a judgment. Every single day. If it's work to be done, shadow work, most importantly, not your employment. See, because your employer can't pay you like your soul gonna pay you. Every single day. Every day is a judgment. Every day, the act of separating the good and constructive thoughts, the sheep, from the destructive ones, the goats, is taking place within us. And the error states of consciousness, the error thoughts, are cast into the refiner's fire for purification and transmuted into helpful, upbuilding forces. This is the alchemy. This is the work. By your own judgments will you be judged. Anybody ever heard that? And for any of us who who come from church folks, I know we heard it. By your own judgments will you be judged. Do anyone know what judgment is beyond our own judgment, beyond our own understanding? Because that's what I just shared. See, until my time came, I didn't understand. I didn't get it, not fully. And even in my fullness, I still got room in my cup to be filled. You gotta listen or you're gonna miss it. I didn't get it until my time came. And that's gonna be the case for most of us. Especially most of us that like to learn the hard way. Because I like to, if you would have asked me, do I like to learn the hard way, I would have said no. But in paying attention to my experiences, my actions, my mentalities at certain points of times and intervals in my life, yeah, the truth is, I like to learn the hard way. We'll know by the situation we put ourselves in. Until your time comes, will you understand? I've been utilizing what I know to help people all my life. And it didn't always come back the way I thought it would or should. But one thing I know today is when you do good, it come back to you. It may not always be as we expected. And it may not always come through who we may think. But it come back. Sometimes I forget how many people actually see life through my eyes. And the position that it put me in, or maybe I put myself in just by being me, the position I put myself in to have to stay in a certain space, to stay in a certain place because of that external expectation concerning the light I am viewed from the highest space to the lowest, because everybody don't see us the same. Everybody not for Saul, and everybody ain't gonna be for you either. Whoever said I can't count the times. I can't count the times I said it. Well, I'm glad that ain't me. You ever said that? Because I can't count the times that I said I'm glad it ain't me. But we still talk about judgment. Y'all walk with me. I'm glad that ain't me. But then I was the type of person who felt that I wasn't afraid to face any challenge that came my way. So in examining that today, I was realizing a contradictive place that I was in at the time that I was in it. I'm glad that ain't me. Yet, I'm willing to challenge. I'm willing to face any challenge that come my way. That's not saying the same thing. I was in judgment through something that I was seeing, through something that I may have been witnessing, or through something that I may have been directly experiencing. But until your time come, will you understand? I show up, and I showed up for the people in my life with love and compassion, even in times that I didn't have it for myself. And you may say, well, how can you show up for people in your life with love and compassion, even if you didn't have it for yourself? Well, it wasn't that I didn't have it for myself. I just didn't know how to give it to myself. I didn't know where it applied in correspondence to what I call myself. I'm sure some of y'all can relate to that. And in essence, with that, they won't always comprehend the changes that love and compassion is doing within us when we're extending it, the lessons that it's showing us, when we're extending the messages that it is showing us. I ain't always comprehended. Change ain't always apparent to the individual that change is working with. Life, learning, living, it's a process. We all in that process. We all are that process. No GMO. Whoever needs some humility, this was for you. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Thanks for the like, share, subscribes, new subscribers, commenters, donators. My Cash App is Sawu the God. TheSaiWootHegod. It's easy to observe life as it happens in us, as well as, well, it's more easier to observe life as it happens with others than to observe it as it's happening in us. I said that to say, I don't know you like you know you. And I'll never know you until I know you like you know you. You can know people your whole life, only to discover you never knew them at all. Judgments. Vice versa. You can newly meet a person and click. And it's like you knew them your whole life. Judgment. Why is that? Do we ever know the people we know? Do the people we think we know ever know you? Do we even know ourselves? It's a process. If you forgot, I'm only here to remind us that we only here to remember. We experiencing the vibration that we have created for ourselves. So wherever we find ourselves at, this is your judgment. Love y'all, family. Sawu.